Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today's going to be a little bit different of a video. It's been a while since we've done this just standalone video talking about, I don't know, I think the state of the game sounds too pretentious for me just a content creator kind of talking about, but rather just kind of reviewing this official blog from Drew, the community manager for Clash Royale at Supercell. He wrote this this pretty long post talking about where is the update, in kind of addressing a lot of the community pain points right now inside Clash Royale. So today I want to go ahead and read that through with you guys in case you didn't take a look at it yet. And if you did, I want to kind of, give my thoughts in kind of reading in between some of these lines about what it could possibly mean. Before we do any of that, I kind of want to set the table with why is a segment of the community upset right now? Why am I seeing more and more comments every day of people saying that the game is feeling rather dry and, wanting more from Supercell inside Clash Royale? Now, quickly, in my opinion, I've always been, I've said this since day one, I've always been the type of player, you can see on my battle log or whatever, which I have linked all my battles, all my player stats in the description below, but you'll see that since day one, I've always been a player who will play this game for a half an hour here, a half an hour there. I usually play for like a half an hour a day. I've never been somebody to sit down personally and play this game for hours on end unless I'm recording content, So for me, I still enjoy playing the game for 20 minutes a day. Like, I really do. But I know and I hear the concerns of you guys out there. And before we get into all of this stuff, we're going to take a deep dive, guys. So it might not be, if you're looking for a quick, hot take and then I'm out of here, probably might not be the video for you guys. But we're going to go through all of the updates in the last 2.5, 3 years and kind of evaluate them. And then we're going to take a look at kind of Drew's response and what he has to say about what he thinks, in terms of the delivery of new content, new features to the game, and the delay in that effort. So the first thing I do want to say to preface this entire conversation again is that for me, even though I'm going to say, right out the gate here, man, we need new content. It has been so long. Even, if you give them the pandemic, right, the last 3-4 months, it's still been a long time, especially, and I hate to compare teams because it's unfair. Different teams are different trajectories in these games' lifespan, but at the same time, we're seeing really compelling updates out of the other games and a lot of communication from the other games, their community teams and just, on social media. Heck, even Frank, the team lead from Brawl Stars, is very active on the daily basis on Twitter, responding to and engaging in the player base. We don't necessarily see that as much from the Clash Royale team, but that's not to say that this is going to be a video of me just crapping on CR or Supercell, but really to provide some context in a more unbiased way, because here I am enjoying the game. I'm also a content creator for the game. I also see you guys, my audience, that I can't ignore. A lot of you guys frustrated. So let's go ahead and just talk about the updates. So as I said, man, I've been rambling for so long, I didn't even get to say the one thing I wanted to say, right? For me, I still stand by what I said in my balance change video, which is if we have to wait another month, another 4 months for a really kick-ass, robust update that's compelling and exciting and gives us that, ooh, I want to play that game immediately. I have to play Clash Royale. If we get that, then it's all is forgiven, in my opinion. It really is, right? Because in 1 or 2 or 3 years from now, we'll be looking back and saying, that was the update in October 2020. Hopefully it's not that long, right? That was the update that changed everything. And we won't care about, the frustration that led to that point. So all can be forgotten or forgiven, I don't know. Everything can pull a 180 and about face and change the trajectory of this game. But however, what I've noticed, guys, is ever since the season started coming out a year ago, we are on season 12 once a month now. So, almost a year for seasons. There have been new cards. There have been monthly balance changes. But there has not been any features that are exciting in the game. Plenty of great arenas, plenty of great loading screens. And I'm not even saying that in a facetious way. I genuinely think there's some really cool artwork and stuff. You got to hand it to the artists. They're doing a hell of a job, but in terms of just the actual content, I mean, I'm going back again. We're in December now of 2019, January, and again, like nothing. Actually, Yeah, the last update was the November update, the last update, you know? And you can see new update here in their blog, and it was the 5-minute battle change from 6 to 5-minute battles. You guys remember that? And that was kind of it. I mean, they changed the sudden death a little bit. They changed the ramp up. They changed double elixir, obviously, to the triple elixir in the last minute. I'm actually a big fan of that now in hindsight. It has been about half a year since this update, and I'm a fan of these changes. You know, I like the new overtime. I like 5-minute matches. However, that was the last big kind of update, and you know, we'll get to Drew's response on this kind of stuff in a bit here, but you know, it's very underwhelming to say the least, right? I mean, I'm not saying it didn't take developer time and a lot of effort and energy that went into like making these changes and implementing these changes and a lot of play testing. However, it was really no new content. They just changed the way that we played the game a bit, you know, in terms of the length of the matches. So I don't know. I'm not going to consider that like certainly not a game-changing update. It's, you know, it's like, okay, we made this change. All right. So then keep going back here. We're in October. What's in the latest update? Again, this is November of 2019, October of 2019 here. And you can see it right here. Bug fixes and improvements. Okay. So a bunch of bug fixes and improvements. And again, you know, I'm sure fixing the loading screen stuck at 86% is really important to fix. You know, new localization updates, adding correct destroyed tower effects. This might have been the one too, or it might have been the previous one where they added the new card images, you know, and that's really cool stuff. But it's not anything to write home about in terms of content or anything exciting in the game. Me especially, I'm not one of those graphic people who can appreciate, unless it's like some really awesome piece of art, I'm not someone who can really appreciate the little nuances of like UI updates, you know, as much as maybe the next person can. Maybe that's a fault in myself, but, you know, I don't get too excited about that kind of stuff. I get excited about a new way to play the game, you know, or a new, you know, big feature or something like that, you know. So we keep going here. We keep going. A game update on August 1st. Okay. What do we have here? We fixed the trophy road. That's it. I mean, again, this doesn't, I don't think it's fair even to them to call this a game update. Optional update, whatever. And then the last like real big substantial update for me was July 1st of 2019. So about almost a year ago was the last major update. And that was when we got Clash Royale. Okay, so Clash Royale came with new emotes, consistent tower skins as well, the whole Clash Royale, and you know, it's a cool update, and then balance changes with that, right? But still, it's still not like a new feature in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about Clash of Clans, like adding clan wars, or Clash Royale adding clan wars. Like, that was a big, meaty update. It really does change the way we play the game. There's whole new things to do, right? Even builder base in Clash of Clans, again, another big update, a whole nother base that you build alongside your base, right? And again, that wasn't even that well received in Clash of Clans. I'm just saying it was a major update. And these, I don't know, again, Clash Royale, it's up to you guys. Does that qualify for a major update in your opinions? I think this one's right on the fence. Sure, it's a pretty major update, but it's just not a new feature update. That's something that we can be pretty certain of. So let's go ahead and keep rewinding here. We see Elixir Capture, how to play Elixir Capture, brand new game modes. These are not, I mean, I'm going to sound like such a hater here, but this is about as mean as I get. These new game modes, they come and go in these special challenges and stuff. For me, they're very, very uninteresting and unexciting. And, you know, and I'm like the one to talk because I had the Elite Barbarian Rush Challenge on the YouTuber, you know, tournament, which is probably the least exciting out of all the 4 or 5 YouTuber challenges 2 months ago or whatever that was in the game. So, hey, I'm not saying I have many better ideas in terms of these special event game modes, but at this point, man, I'd rather have Touchdown than have another you know, whatever, troops spawning on the back of the arena, you know, as a brand new game mode, new way to play the game, you know. There's some comments that we'll get to in a minute about, you know, really compelling ideas about, okay, let's change it to capture the flag type game. You know, let's change the win condition of games. That is compelling to me. That is new and fresh and exciting and requires a whole new strategy. When I say win condition, I mean right now the win condition in terms of the bare bones, the macro level of Clash Royale is, okay, who can take down more towers than the opponent? That's who decides who wins. And that's how every game mode is except for touchdown right now. So give me more of those game modes, maybe only one of them a year instead of 8 of these kind of subpar game modes a year. I don't know. But, you know, I'm going to give, by the way, my solution, not solution, but what I would change, because it's easy to complain, very easy to complain. It's more difficult to actually, I'm just still looking for the next update, man. I mean, January update, what was this one? It's more difficult to actually have ideas, right? So new card improvements, 2 new game modes, again, Year of the Hog and mini collection. Yeah. December update, what do we have here? Star levels. And again, star levels, just aesthetics here. Honestly, it's, I don't hate these updates, but they're just aesthetics. And here it is. April of 2018 was the last time. That was over 2 years ago. Was the last time that we got a big, meaty update in this game. Now, in the last year, we've had seasons. Every season, something new to look forward to in terms of balance changes, in terms of cards, maybe new cards here and there about every other month, it seems like. So while I think those things are welcome changes to bridge the gap between big updates, there simply have not been big feature updates. And, you know, we'll talk more about that in a moment here. But I think that, you know, to interject one of my opinions before we cross over to the Reddit, which we'll actually do right now, is honestly, guys, I really believe that there's so many great ideas in terms of quality of life ideas, right? In terms of ways to make the game better by not having a big feature update. If it's going to take them a year to make, or 2 years to make a big feature update, that's cool. But how about giving us like some of the ideas that even I put forward and so many other people have too? I'm not saying my ideas are correct, but a PvE game mode every weekend or something like Robo Rumble or whatever in Brawl Stars. Give us, and I know these are not easy I know any developer listening right now is going to be, yeah, just give us this stuff. Like, how are we supposed to do it, man? It takes time. And I get that. But I guess what I'm saying is maybe allocate some of the time spent on adding new cards to maybe some more compelling new game modes that are actually have a little bit more meat on the bone for us to enjoy, you know, to help bridge those gaps between these big feature updates that seem to take a year or two to actually implement into the game right now based on the last rates. We have Clash Royale a year ago, and then we had the Clan Wars 2 years ago. So, you know, we're due for our next big one. But, you know, challenge tokens, why not revamp challenges, you know, victory challenges, classic and grand challenges? Why not make some adjustments, make some changes, you know, even if these things don't satisfy everybody, because of course they're gonna do these things. If they did these things and people would be like, wow, this is it, this is the update, people are still gonna be upset no matter what. But why not add some of these, you know, give us some of these carrots to keep us, you know, munching for a while, you know? Anyway, here's Drew's Reddit post. Let's go ahead and review this together. Hey Reddit, I've seen a lot of posts over the last few days asking for more communication on our upcoming update. So here it is. Just wanted to address some concerns that I've seen so far, so here we go. Why don't they just tell us what they're working on? This is a deliberate choice. I personally don't want to reveal any information until we have more polish and a solid date for release. As you can see, even releasing a teaser image early has led to a lot of negativity when the update has not materialized, or why the update has not materialized, excuse me. So this is the image that they sent with the TV Royale. To me, it's definitely a Clan Wars update. I feel like 99% sure that it's going to be a new revamped Clan Wars. And I'll tell you why, because he mentions kind of that in a veiled way as we go on. But this is the image. To me, it's just, okay, so they're on a boat. They have the Clan War little emblems on them. I'm not really reading any huge clues into this. Like, I don't see any little Easter eggs there. You know, there's a barbarian on one of the masts. It's this, the clan war logos are still kind of there. The clan logos are still there on the flags. To me, it just is, again, just telling us that we're going to get new clan wars. There's no like other hidden message there, unless I'm missing it. What do you guys think? Hype versus expectations. So Drew goes on to say, those of you who remember the biggest update ever, touchdown, know how important it is not to overhype things, and we want to manage expectations accordingly. Yes, not releasing an update for a while by default sets expectations, but that's a separate topic. Marketing also plays a role when revealing info. It's hard to make big splash with a huge trailer, etc., if all the info is already released elsewhere. And last of all, we want to make sure that we show or reveal what is going to be accurate representation of what appears in the game. This is obviously closer to an update, closer to update completion. So again, I want to go ahead and give a nod to what I agree with, and then also give kind of a rebuttal to give a different point of view. So I completely agree with the marketing thing. I agree with the overhyping an update. And last of all, I also agree. All the points that he makes here about hype versus expectations are 100% valid. 100% valid. However, you can also meet halfway on a lot of these things, right? So, for example, let's start at the end. We want to be able to show or reveal something that's going to be an accurate representation of what appears in game. Excuse me. So you don't have to show us anything, right? That's the easy one. You can just tell us some stuff. You know, I remember that, you know, some of the other community managers in other games just talk about, like, pretty openly about, okay, we're working on this, and, you know, we'll give you more details. And at this point, it's kind of no secret that it's Clan Wars. So maybe just, you know, tell us, hey, it looks like it. I want to throw the question to you guys here for a second. If they came out and said, let's just go worst case scenario, this is going to come in November, Clan Wars 2.0. But here's kind of what it's looking like so far. If they did something like that, would that really just absolutely deflate any expectations and hype and just make you frustrated that it's going to be another 6 months? Or would you be happy to actually hear more about what is going to be coming in 5 months or whatever, if that was the case? Again, I'm not saying that's official. I have no idea. I have no idea when it's coming. Anyway, I personally would rather hear a little bit more about it and just know that it's a few months away still. Anyway, but I don't have to see anything. Like, I don't need to see images of whatever, you know. I'm cool with just kind of like hearing a little bit more about what they have in mind and where they are in the development process. They don't have any obligation to tell us this stuff, but it'd be cool to be like, okay, well, we have this kind of fleshed out and this is what we're working on. We could go in a number of different directions here, but this is like kind of what we have. 100% is coming. Clan Wars, it's going to be, you know, real time. I don't know, but like, tell us about what they know is coming, and then tell us about like going from here. We'll see, and maybe even, who knows, there could be some pretty good community feedback in that regard too. So in terms of overhyping, that's an easy one, right? Just don't overhype it, right? It has been a long time, and I don't know, man. I could be wrong, but I don't recall. I could be totally wrong here. I don't recall the old community manager in the old Clash Royale team back in 2017, 2018 saying it was going to be the biggest update ever. Maybe they did. I'm sure Drew wouldn't say it unless they did do that, and there's no question about it that it did not meet expectations. But I don't remember, like, I get what he's saying though. That is, I guess, regardless, it's just don't hype it up. Just be like, yeah, you know, it's a work in progress, and, you know, just don't say it's the biggest update ever or anything like that, you know. And I think that people wouldn't think it's the biggest update ever, right? Am I taking this? Am I being too, you know, naive about this? Why is it taking so long? Developing takes time. Developing a brand new feature takes longer than modifying existing features, and this is why I think it's definitely Clan Wars. Taking the existing feature, removing it, and turning it into something completely new takes even longer. Well, with all these images and the other leaked image on, you know, there's been so many little Easter eggs about Clan Wars, and this to me just is the final nail in the coffin here in terms of speculating what it's going to be. Taking an existing feature, removing it, and turning it into something completely new. All right, cool. So when we started developing this update, the big problem to tackle was we have so many cards in the game, but players only use 8. The game becomes infinitely more fun when you can experiment with different decks and play with different cards. So how can we make players play with more than one deck? Also, also, this other thing needs some work. So the other thing is Clan Wars. And then how can they get us to use more cards for Clan Wars, more decks for Clan Wars? Okay. This is interesting though. As we worked on our main vision for this update, we also created an entirely new way to play Royale that we ended up liking so much, we wanted to put it alongside the originally planned features. So features, he says plural. I don't want to read too much into it, but he does say plural features. And to me, this means that not only, and again, this is speculation here. I don't know what the update's going to be. I have not played anything in terms of beyond what we see right now in Season 12. We have the dev build access, but it only goes to the end of the month. And they can still add stuff without, like once, whatever. I'm not going to get into the niche of the dev build, but suffice it to say, we only see what they want us to see as content creators, right? So anyway, moving on, right? To me, this means they are going to have, and this is, again, speculation, they're going to have new Clan Wars and a new way to play the game, meaning a new game mode that's not touchdown, that's not regular, take down tower win condition. So I am thinking it is a brand new way to play the game, a la touchdown mode, but better, hopefully, way better, hopefully. And it's Clan Wars 2. And maybe these two things tie together. Clan Wars looking anything like they are right now in the new version would not make any sense at all. So take anything that you think about right now when I say Clan Wars and throw it out of your brain and replace it with something totally new and hopefully exciting and compelling on top of a brand new game mode. So all these things get me pretty excited, just a matter of when, right? Alongside this, the COVID situation has provided new challenges for development with all employees at Supercell working from home. This causes its own problem, especially for those with kids. No daycare, team members with young children have had a couple rough months. The way we develop is very organic. We sit next to each other and talk a lot, trade ideas, show each other stuff regularly. While not all a major reason for the update taking a long time, being apart has created its own unique issues. At the end of the day, we want to make an update that, as well as a team we are proud of and is up to the standard players have come to expect from Supercell games. If it takes a bit longer than usual, then that is something we are willing to let happen to get out a polished product, okay? So I really can't, I don't have anything to say about COVID. Obviously, I'm not going to be, if you want to be the person in the comments, go for it, but I'm not going to be that person who is, has unrealistic expectations based on a global pandemic that we've never seen in our lifetime before. And I'm sympathetic to that, of course. I'm sympathetic to people having to make big life changes, work at home with kids around, something that I had to get used to as well. Luckily, not all the time, or maybe, is that bad to say? But, I'm able to get some work done without Charlie running around, but I can relate to that. However, too, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, like I did in the video a week ago about the balance changes, that, it is difficult to, from a player standpoint, from a community standpoint, you look at these other games, Brawl Stars put out maybe one of their most compelling updates ever during this pandemic. Granted, I'm sure production went into that, months before even the pandemic was a thing. So I'm not trying to just be naively like, oh, these other games did it, why can't you? But at the same time, it is unfortunate that all these amazing updates are coming for these, two other big Supercell games in Clash of Clans and Brawl Stars, and a whole other game is launching with a ton of new content and Heyday Pop and stuff like that. Yet there hasn't been anything really on the Clash Royale side. And again, even from a content creator's perspective here, Clash Royale, to my knowledge, I might be incorrect here, and again, nobody cares about this except for me and maybe a couple other content creators, but it's the only Supercell game that doesn't have a video tab for content creators. Like all the other games have like a way for content creators to submit videos, and it's like a feed in the game, which is really cool. And they brought these features into these other games, in 2019. Like, it's been a long time, but Clash Royale just keeps saying that, it's coming at some point. And again, I don't want them to put a priority on content creators' videos and games. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it is, for me, kind of like a light bulb, not trying to take unfair shots, but okay, so why is Clash Royale 6 months behind the other games in a video tab? Again, I'd much rather have good quality of life updates, good updates, other than a video content creator tab. But it's just kind of something that I thought about, we don't want balance changes or new cards. We want an update. He said that's fair enough response and opinion to hold, but some people do want new cards and balance changes. In our minds, there is a long wait between updates, and it's better if we introduce small changes like balance and new cards than have nothing at all in between the updates. That is something that personally I am going to 100% agree with Drew on. And I said this in like, somebody like put it on Reddit or something that I like quoted me kind of out of context on Twitter and said that, you know, because I was responding to somebody on Twitter who was complaining about another new card and another balance changes. Come on, Supercell, you suck, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, you know what? I'd rather have new cards and balance changes than nothing in between these updates. And, you know, that's how I just feel. You know, like, listen, I like the team to be focusing 90% on new big update, big features to add to the game. But in the meantime, if they have, you know, some cards that are already ready, they don't take a lot of development time away from the updates, or at the very least balance changes to switch up the meta, keep things feeling fresh here, especially as a content creator, I am all for it. So I agree with Drew there. I don't get why people want, you know, them to stop making, balance changes. Stop making seasons and focus on the update. Making new cards or seasons doesn't impact our ability to deliver seasonal content or new cards. Our team has people that are 100% working on the new update and others who are working on both the update and the new seasonal content. So it's never an either or. The only time this changes is when stuff breaks, like server issues, app issues, legal things, and we need to resolve those as a matter of priority. So, I mean, I guess, again, sorry, got a call there. I'm one who likes these new seasons every time, but you know, I can see where someone, if you were playing devil's advocate, will be like, okay, well, making new cards and seasons doesn't impact our ability to deliver content or new cards. Making new cards or seasons doesn't impact our ability to deliver seasonal content or new cards. Huh. I guess what he's trying to say is it doesn't affect big updates, but I guess if you were going to play devil's advocate there, you could say, well, what if those people that are spending all the time making new cards just put 100% of their effort into the update? Would it come any sooner? Either way, though, I mean, I like the new season, so I'm not really complaining about it. I think that one misnomer, though, is that every new season that comes, people get more and more frustrated with where's the next big update. You see it at the beginning of every month, right? And people should understand that the seasons are not big updates. If you go into any season expecting a big update, you are misinformed. This is just something that's going to happen every month, regardless of big updates. Is it taking too much time away from big feature updates? That question is completely valid and fair. But to expect these season updates to be bigger is really unfair because that's not what they're there for. Why don't you just release a smaller update? Sometimes smaller updates might be good, but we have this time decided to focus on a bigger update. Basically, that's the long story short. And then someone says, we haven't had an update in 11 and a half months or 1.5 years or 2 years. I see this a lot on Twitter, LOL. There seems to be varying opinions of when we released our last update. Our last update was at the end of November 2019. This is around 6 months ago. That was the adding the extra time or whatever, or subtracting a minute from Clash Royale matches update. Let's see. However, since then, we have also released 5 new cards and 7 seasons. Okay, well, I guess the obvious response there is we haven't had a major update, right? a feature update in a year or 2 years, you know? I think that all these new cards are cool. All these seasons, in my opinion, are cool, but obviously they're not satisfying the hunger, the thirst for new content in the community. That's pretty obvious, right? Too long didn't read. We are working on the update. It's still taking a while, but we're revealing more in the future, and I'm hyped to share it with you. Thanks for reading. I respect this is not an ideal situation for the fans of the game, but I can only ask for your patience, and that if you can give that, then we just greatly appreciate it, myself and the rest of the team. I know there'll be a lot of questions, so I'll stick around and answer some. Here's a couple of the questions that he answered before we wrap this video up here. It is a little bit longer. Why isn't the update coming in before September? Or the update isn't coming before September. We haven't even begun the 2 month of teasers yet, blah, blah, blah. And Drew says, not necessarily. My job requires me to be very flexible when it comes to stuff like this. And for some reason, the update isn't ready for 2 weeks. I would have to adjust any release plans accordingly. So basically, 2 month of teaser is not mandatory. So I guess, you know, it could be coming in a month. It could be coming in, 3 months. Who knows? Next up is this guy, who says, he asked a lot of questions, a lot of good questions here. He compiled a list of things. I'm not going to talk about that. After this update, we're going to get a list of things you're planning to work on like you did in 2017. It was really cool when they provided kind of roadmap of what is coming and what they're working on in the game. People like that sort of communication. Will the next update make progression easier? Asking about progression and kind of illustrating how it's a pain point to a lot of players. Where is the epic chest? Where is Game Rush? Does the dev team have any plans of implementing a farming system like Clash of Clans has? So honestly, I love this question 6, man. I've been saying this for a long time. A way of farming cards that will solve the one deck issue right there, right? It was easier to upgrade cards in the game. And granted, to the team's credit, they have added a lot of ways for us to easier upgrade cards in this game. But hey, I mean, kind of a way to farm a little bit better, I think would be really fun. Again, challenge tokens would be great because you could have a free entry to a grand or a classic challenge, and that would give you a reason to play the game for another 45 minutes, search out for more decks and stuff like that. Drew says, maybe. It depends on how the update goes. I would love to get a roadmap out to you guys about a roadmap. So a maybe. The next one is we've increased progression massively since 4 years ago. And that is definitely true. Again, just harking back to what I just said, it's definitely something that, in my opinion, they've made a lot of great changes, trade tokens, everything like that. But at the same time, it would be cool to like revamp victory challenges in a way that gives a viable way to farm this game. Not sure what that means. An epic chest appears in the shop for, I didn't know what the epic chest meant myself either. And then about the gem rush, he said basically they've added gems to the game in other places, like Pass Royale, track, chests, challenges, quests. That way they'll be distributed in a more effective and fair way rather than one event that players could miss. I mean, he's not lying. They did introduce a lot of new gems to the game in other ways, but at the same time, I think that people would have been a little bit more upset had they known that, hey guys, we're going to put gems onto the, Pass Royale or onto whatever, and we're going to be taking away Gem Rush forever. And at the very least, it would have been nice to actually have that announced. That way people wouldn't still comment on all of my videos asking where Gem Rush is. But Drew is right. It's not really a hot topic at this time either. Let's see. Not at the moment in time that I can think of. What was number 6 again? Oh, any way to farm gold or cards or gold if our chest slots are full. Okay. So the next one's going to be, let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one here. He said he thinks it would benefit communities to have a conference with Darian, the Clash of Clans community manager. He feels like, with great respect, I feel like the communication is spent from a more defensive position in Clash Royale without providing tangibles. I'm sure it would benefit both of you in many ways. You can see Darian's AMA here, blah, blah, blah. The general vibes of the community towards Darian feels a little bit more positive. And Drew basically says all communities at Supercell work differently and have different communities. I talk to other community managers at Supercell daily, and I'm aware of how they work. Me and Darian run communities, 2 completely different games and 2 completely different development structures and pipeline, all of which affects the way that we interact with the community. So there definitely is a little bit more negativity right now. It appears in Clash Royale than in Clash of Clans right now. So it's a little bit easier to compare, Darian's positivity to maybe some of the, like adding the LOL to the initial post. It does kind of, there does seem to be a little bit of friction between the Supercell Clash Royale team and the community. Part of that is due to the toxicity of Reddit right now. And again, some of it's justified, not the toxicity, but the constructive criticism is very justified right now. We just went through the updates at the beginning of this video, and there hasn't been much. So I think that's all led to right now is just truthfully not the best time in terms of clashing, no pun intended, of Supercell in community. And I think that that's kind of bled over on both sides a little bit, right? Maybe Drew is a bit defensive at times and probably not for the better. And same thing with the community. Sometimes we're way too toxic, So if new cards balance changes and seasons don't impact rolling out new updates, then why include five new cards in 7 seasons as examples of what has been implemented in Supercell's defense of not having an actual update since November? And then Drew says, it wasn't in defense of, it was directed at these comments that usually accompany those. There hasn't been an update since 2018, saying there hasn't been no new content added to the game. And then respectfully, though, they aren't really wrong in many eyes. The last true content update was back when Pass was added in July of 2019. That's what we said earlier in this video too. And for some, either further when Trophy Road was added in April of 2019. The two updates that followed the July update changed quite literally nothing. Just honestly a big quality of life changes and nothing really else added to the game. And I don't mind small updates either. I actually liked all those updates as well. But again, I think that the miscommunication here can be solved in one sentence, right? It's just, or maybe two sentences, knowing me, right? But like, sure, there's been updates added, but you know, these new cards and balance changes don't really cut what the community is looking for. I love seasons, but the question kind of begs itself at this point is, are they sacrificing too much development time into seasons, into the new cards that sometimes accompanying these seasons, and taking away from the big feature updates that are the lifeblood of, you know, expanding and adding longevity to the trajectory of Clash Royale as a whole? And I don't know the answer to that question, but it's definitely a valid one, I think. And this guy says, I'm just going to end the video after this one because it's already going super long here. But thank you for the time. I understand the game, the update is taking longer than expected, and you can't tell us the exact date, but basically, do you have an idea of the game's getting stale? Any idea? A vague ETA after summer, before September, be greatly appreciated. And Drew basically said, he can't give one right now. He said, too long didn't read. I don't have an answer for you, but there are my thoughts behind the comms. Thanks for the question. So, you know, I'm going to end. You guys can feel free to read this as well. I'll have links to the entire Reddit post as well for you guys. But the long story short here, guys, in my opinion, is I like the communication. I like that Drew did this. I like that he answered the difficult questions. It's not easy to do as the community manager when you feel like you have all the hate of these rightfully upset people about the game during a global pandemic, all coming at you like in an aggressive tone. And I respect that he went out there and did his best to answer these questions. Could it have tonally been a bit better in places? I personally think so. But at the same time, you know, coming from someone who gets routine death threats and toxic comments, it's difficult as a human being to take this stuff and always just or never have an ounce of defensiveness or snarkiness. You know, it's difficult. All it takes is one moment of weakness. You can handle 100 people really respectfully, and then it takes one person, and then that's it. That's the only thing that people see and realize. So I applaud this communication. The last thing that I would ever want to do is pick apart something that Drew says or unfairly criticize him, because we need more of this, right? That's the underlying point. We need more communication, and having that, you know, those lines of communication, that open flow of dialogue between community and Supercell is going to be of the utmost importance if this game is successful in the long term, in the future, you know, 1 year, let alone 5 years, 10 years from now. So I want the update just as badly as you guys. I'll end on a more positive note again. It sounds like what we're getting, when we get it, who knows? Sounds like what we're getting is going to be awesome. So I'll say what I said in the balance change video too. If you guys are fed up right now with this game and it's stale to you, it's boring to you, I completely understand if you take a break from the game. I don't understand if you take a break from your favorite YouTube channel though. But now, all jokes aside, I get it, guys. I totally get it. But I hope that you guys do come back when the feature is released, you know, whether it's 2020 or 2025. It'd be really cool to, you know, have you guys back here and check out the game, check out what you've missed, because, you know, seasons are pretty cool, but we do need more. And I would like to see, you know, those challenge tokens, that PvE element to the game, some exciting stuff on top of Clan Wars 2.0, which I suspect we're getting here, again, just a matter of when. So there we go, guys. Those are my opinions, and that's kind of really digesting all of the updates. What have we gotten, what haven't we gotten, and what is Supercell's response? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Thank you for watching, and as always, a huge shout out to Bren Chong and Clash Royale, my YouTube partners. Take care, guys.